now in the Eastern Conference Finals. For all the NBA is rigged crowd, if that's the case, why did it take so long? I think what's interesting is October through, let's say, April, before the playoffs, the Knicks clearly looked inferior to OKC, Cleveland, Boston, the pretty teams, the teams up and down the floor, 3-point parade, finesse teams, right? And then all of a sudden, we all thought, oh, they have to make a Giannis move. They got to make a KD move. And then the NBA decided, we're going to swallow the whistles, more so than usual. We're going to allow physical play. And it moved right into the Knicks style. The Knicks, this is what Tibbs has built. A slower pace, not three-ball dependent, a physical starting five, half-court-based offense. Well, guess what worked in the playoffs? So the NBA moved into their direction. I said this for years. For years, you could grab and clutch and hit quarterbacks above the shoulders. The NFL 10 years ago moved into Andy Reid's direction and Sean McVay's direction and offensive coaches' directions, and away from Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick's direction. Sometimes leagues move into you. The three-ball analytics helped a lot of smaller players who could shoot threes. It moved away from Dwight Howard. That's what the league did. And so I think it's interesting. Adam Silver, he's ultimately, he and the officials control it. They made moves that benefit teams with great point guards, Jalen Brunson, slower pace, not three-ball dependent, excellent defensively. And we didn't think that in the regular season. So, I mean, some of the Knicks' success, and this is not a criticism, is what the league did. The league moved into what the Knicks do.
Okay. First off, I don't know who was saying that the Knicks needed Giannis or KD. I mean, like, yeah, obviously if you add those great players, like, your team will be better. But, like, I mean, oh my God. Listen. And we saw so much of this with the Knicks last year as well. We understand what the playoffs are. The playoffs are more physical, tough basketball, where hustling and physicality can impact winning so much greater than during the regular season. It's not always about who works the hardest during the regular season and who wants it more. I always talk about that, where it's like, sometimes that analysis can be so lazy. Who wants it more? And it's like, yeah. You know, like, that's like, it's a generic thing. Because a lot of times it's like, well, who's just better, man? And like I said about the Knicks, you know, talent, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And the reality is that in the playoffs, that can be true too. But when you have the talent and you work harder than everyone else, you can overcome a potential talent deficit, per se. Not to say that you're either talented or untalented, but like, you could theoretically have a little bit of a weaker roster, but if your hard work and intensity is so much of that greater than the other teams, it's like, well, here we come. And the New York Knicks are just the definition of, it's not even going to be close to you outworking us, to you being out, for you playing a harder defense, more physical offense, whatever it may be. It's not even going to be like a toss-up. It's not even going to be like, oh, well, these are two teams that work. I don't care. It's like, take the two hardest working teams in the NBA. You have the Knicks at 1, and then the second closest is going to be like 10, 15, 20% below that, right? It's like, one is averaging 30 points per game in first, and the second is averaging 20 points per game. Like, it's just a massive swing. That is who the New York Knicks are. Then you add in the actual concrete talent that they obviously have. And again, I understand, Brunson and Cat and stuff like that, right? They're not as big in terms of like what we see from a talent perspective, or what the perception is of Jokic, SGA, KD, like, and Giannis, for instance, like who he brought up. And I get that, but we don't have to pretend that the New York Knicks are also just like a bunch of just ragtag, like, you know, these players are just lucky to even be in the NBA either. Like, that's not really the case either. And this team was strategically built as well. So again, this wasn't just kind of like, we kind of need to have some guys on the like. There was like concrete decisions that were made. We're gonna move on from this piece. We're gonna bring this piece in. Like this was a very carefully constructed team, multiple pieces. When a lot of teams just kind of have a superstar, and then they're like, all right, we have this superstar, we have this Giannis, we have this LeBron, whatever. Who do we now have to invite to this party to try to build? When in reality, it was kind of like, well, this team is very much kind of like, you know, this is going to sound so cheesy, but it's very much like a painting where it's very much like, we're going to add a little bit of this over here. I kind of want a background over there. I want to add some color over here. I want a person in the center, but I want some fruit to the side. I only know so much about paintings, but it was just like, you know, like it was very much like we're looking at the big picture rather than like, I got this hot model in the middle. We can't just have her just there. We need something else. We'll put a race car to the right, and we'll put you know, money to the left. Like, you know, like that. That's how a lot of teams are built. They're like, whoa, we got this really hot person. Let's you know, I don't know. Let's try to find something else that's really cool. What do people like? Fireworks. Yeah, let's just add fireworks in here. Like, this was very much like, no. What's the big picture? How do we make something complete here? And that's what the New York Knicks have built. And again, I know it sounds like a cheesy example, but that's how you get a take of like, well, we didn't really believe in the New York Knicks. No, nobody actually believed in the New York Knicks, and it's like, who's this nobody? Like, who's saying that? You know, like I'm not listening to it, honestly. So I don't know. That's what you get when you automatically assume who this team is, and you don't understand the fundamental differences between playoff basketball and regular season basketball. This was like all my takes going into the playoffs, and I was just like, listen, I'm not going to pretend like the regular season matters. I'm just not. I understand why the networks do it, because the networks play regular season basketball games. I don't, right? I'm not going to pretend like regular seasons matter. It just doesn't. It's been, as the years have gone on, it's been harder and harder and harder for me to watch the regular season and get excited about it. I used to watch regular season games all the time, and I loved them. And I still do. I still watch games, obviously. But I still know deep to my core, none of this matters. No, the 60th game, the 30th game, the 10th game of the season, none of it matters. Everyone's like, oh, the Celtics and the Knicks regular season means nothing to me. 100% nothing to me. And I'm not being extreme with that take. I'm not trying to be a hot take artist here. Like, it literally means nothing to me. If the regular season was close to the playoffs in terms of the level of play, the quality of play, the intensity of play, how it's officiated, a 7-game series where you're playing the same players again and again and again, if it was like baseball where you have like a 3-game series, 4-game series, you know, whatever it may be, then I could understand a little bit. But basketball is so far from that in the regular season that it just becomes irrelevant. It just 100% doesn't matter to me. So trying to reach any conclusion, you're better off looking at a team like the Knicks in, you know, game 1 and 2 of round 1 or something, and using that as an indicator as to who they will be in the playoffs compared to what you saw them play against the playoff teams in the regular season. You get a more accurate assessment. And so, yeah, you know, it's funny because as trust Brunson and New York to win it all. I trust them doesn't mean that they will. I think this year is actually really fun, is really exciting, because I actually think all 4 teams right now can win it all, and I'm happy for that, because we've been in such a basketball lull where it really just felt like you knew who was going to win it, or you knew who was going to at least get to the finals, and now finally we've slowly transitioned away from that. We really have. There's really no a lot of people were guaranteeing that the Boston Celtics were going to do it, and they didn't, obviously. Right? A lot of people were guaranteeing the Nuggets were going to do it. They didn't. You know, that the Bucks, they didn't. The Warriors, they didn't. The Lakers, they didn't. Heck, people are now guaranteeing that that OKC will do it. I don't know. And you certainly can't guarantee New York or the Pacers or the Timberwolves. So I'm excited because for the first time in a long time, I really don't know what the outcome will be. I really don't. I believe the Knicks will beat the Pacers, but I actually really don't know. I'm not going to come here with just like a ton of confidence and say, oh, the Pacers have no chance against the Knicks or anything. I have no idea, truly. And if the Knicks went up against OKC or the Timberwolves, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I have no idea. I'd come in here, game one, and, everyone would give their predictions, and I would say, I got no idea. I was like, I need to watch the first 3 games to have any sense of how these teams will play each other in the playoffs. Like, I got no idea. I got no idea. OKC ran the Nuggets off the court in game 7. I mean, it wasn't even close, but that wasn't necessarily an indicator how that series went. And yet game 7 was just like, what am I watching? It's not even close right now. I mean, like Thunder it was just an avalanche. So how's that going to bode against the Timberwolves? No idea. No idea. Pacers have been able to find their way through the playoffs. Will it stop against the brick wall of the New York Knicks? That would be my guess, but I don't know, actually. I honestly don't know. So I love where basketball is, at least right now in this immediate moment. But yeah, it is funny to see people wrestle with the conclusions that they made about New York prior, I guess. And now they're trying to make sense with how New York is winning now. And it's just like, they're the definition of playoff basketball. And then you're going to be surprised that they're successful in the playoffs? Like, what? How does that make sense? Doesn't make any sense. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the New York Knicks? Do you trust that they'll be able to win it all? Do you think they should be favored to win it all? How do you feel about everyone, reconciling with the New York Knicks' success? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.